This is Arlene, and you're listening to Duran ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Today, in our ABC dialogue, we are going to continue and our discussion with an activist from Thailand, and his name is Tom Weerachat. He's going to discuss with us a topic that is currently is very serious and very important in Southeast Asia, and it has caused a lot of protests and also a lot of concern as well from people in Southeast Asia as well as the global community, and this is regarding on the Xayaburi Dam in Laos. So our discussion today will focusing more on the accountability of ASEAN. Anyway, Tom, welcome and thanks for speaking with us. Maybe you can start by just sharing with us what is Xayaburi Dam.
สวัสดีครับ Thank you so much. Yes, the Xayaburi Dam is a first dams in the mainstream Mekong River. I mean lower Mekong River because there are several dams in China in upper Mekong. And this is the hydropower dam generate electricity to Thailand, and the investment financed by Thai banks. The dam actually in the territory of Laos PTR. So this is a kind of challenge where it's under the sovereignty of Laos, and it's gonna impact people in Laos, in Cambodia, because the ecosystem, right, the connection of the river to Cambodia and the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, where 20 million people are depending on the vulnerable ecosystem of Mekong River. So this is a huge project.
But why the government want to start the Mekong project in the first place? I mean the Xayaburi Dam.
There are several theories because the government said, Thailand need electricity, but actually it's something to do with the power, development plan, that how you expect your country to have electricity like that, no? So there are several criticism that is over prediction and the management of the electricity system, how they supply the electricity. So this is not necessary actually, because there are some electricity that could supply Thailand, but this is, some people said this is for the interest of the corporate, where they want to hold their interest in the stock market. So using this project to hold their benefit.
Mm-hmm. So the location of the Xayaburi Dam is on the northern part of Laos. How did the Thai government manage to get the consent of the Lao government to build it in Laos itself?
This is the question, because it's like a government to government, right? The company to the government. And in Laos, it's easy to get the consent because there's one party system. So you just say it's for the development of the country. But actually, we don't know that people are happy with this, because you don't have freedom of expressions. And for some reasons, the project might be benefit for some people, but may not be benefit or even create a huge impact to some vulnerable communities.
But the thing is, the Xayaburi Dam is being built by a Thai company with Thai money.
Yes.
So probably it will add to the economic development of Laos in that sense.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's a good thing?
I mean, when we talk about the mega projects, of course, we need to identify the benefits and also the negative impacts, right? For some aspect, yes, it might create a kind of GDP or economic growth for some aspect, but you need also to compare with the negative impacts. Who gonna live with this negative impact and consider it very seriously. But for this process, I mean, we don't really against to, no projects, but we need a transparent, we need a trans-boundary environmental impact assessment, like, adequately to see how much it's going to impact. And we can, look at it and design together. Now, the problem is the participation of the public is not there.
Mm-hmm. It's not there in, is speaking on behalf of Thailand or Laos?
I think I speak on behalf of people affected by this project.
As we all know, Laos is one of the Southeast Asia's poorest country. Economically, they are not doing as well as its neighbors. So the strategy for development is based on generating electricity from its river and selling the power to its neighbor. And with that, I think what Laos is looking at, from my understanding, is it needs to increase its GDP, and having a hydroelectric power to generate money out of that would definitely increase the GDP of Laos. But at the same time, I want to know, like, when it comes to the way Laos government handle environmental issue, or having an impact assessment on how it would affect the local community and the local environment, how far the government would go? What is your assessment on that?
So far, we see a lot of, there's many dams projects in Laos, and so many communities affected by that, and it's make their life more difficult. And the plan or the proposed, like for example, the resettlement plan is not that effective. So people still suffering from that. And also, talking about the environmental impacts is huge. And the Mekong River, it's not just belong to one country, right? I mean, it's gonna create, we don't know how far would it go, the impact, because let's say the Tonle Sap ecosystem is very miracle in this world, and a little change would cause a huge impact. And people downstream, they not even know what's happening up there. So this is something we really need to concern. That's why the process of MRC, the Mekong River Commission, need to be conducted, but they are not. So I mean, the consultation among the affected people, or the potential affected people, should be there. I mean, one decision, or even Thailand could not speak on behalf of people in the Delta because we impact in the different way. Yeah.
Regarding on the economy of Laos, and also the way the Lao government wants to develop its economy, do you think having a hydroelectric power system would be one of the better ways for them to increase their GDP?
I mean, according to the global trends, the hydropower dam is not that effective and sustainable. I mean, in many places, there are the idea to decommission the dams, because compared to the economic benefits to the negative impacts, it's not worth it. And there is an equator that would cause even, difficult to the economy, because if you use the money to calculate your economic growth, that might be, you see how much you gain, but there is a cost that you cannot, evaluate in terms of money, and it will bring vulnerability to your economy. But the thing is, there is no one model of development, right? There must
Definitely.
be an alternatives. Let's say if you want electricity, there could be another choice of producing electricity, or it could not it might not be a big project. It could be a small project or decentralized hydropower projects in a small scale that might be happened. And you know this kind of idea, and we talk about the development justice, right? Where the benefit, we saying, the government always saying that this will bring glory to our country, to the economic development, but who really benefit from that?
So who actually benefit from
Yeah,
all this development? From
yeah, that's a
yeah.
that's a question.
Mhm. Um,
I
um,
mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, actually, the people who benefit from that is in Thailand,
Mhm.
right? Because the construction company, the banks who give a loan and waiting for interest, and I think the people who suffer are not benefit from this, and even the Lao people is not that enjoy the benefits from these projects.
Mhm. I
Mm,
can see from the numbers of dams, operational dams, currently in the Mekong River is actually just probably three or four. One is under construction, but the
yeah,
proposed dams, and more than just Xayaburi Dam, by the way, is I think they want to include probably another 10 more dams, or more, I think 10 to 20 more dams in the Mekong River itself. Uh, I'm not
yes,
sure what kind of environmental impact it would be on that particular Mekong River, but just focusing on Xayaburi Dam, which is close to Laos, I think they are proposing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 dams across the Mekong River between Laos and Thailand. What kind of environmental impact uh, that will be happening, the negative environmental impact, as well as how it affect the local community there?
the most concern is about the fisheries,
Mm-hmm.
because people here, their life, they earn protein from the fish. And if you go to the southern Laos, like a 4,000 islands, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the generation from generations, their life depend on fishing, fisheries. They have the traditional knowledge how to catch fish. They know the fish migrations, because the fish need to move to lay egg, and then if you build the dam, it could not. The company saying that, oh, we use they provide a fish ladder. I mean, like, it's like a salmon fish in the western country, but we would say that you need to train the fish in Mekong River how to use that technology, because it's not practical. And when we talk about fish, it's not only fish. It also means their culture, their livelihood, their families, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ecosystem would change forever. And in the delta, we talk about sediment,
Mm-hmm. What?
because they are
Mm-hmm.
growing rice, right? Their cultivation is depend on rice, and the sediment from the Mekong River would change forever, and they are vulnerable from the global climate change to the delta at the ocean, the salt water rising up, and the impacts from the Mekong River. So this is very huge
And
for them.
I'm reading one article. It stated that scientists also warn a cascade of dams will threaten food security along the Mekong River. And as we all know, around 65 million people are depending their life with on next to the Mekong River.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I'm just wondering, like, are they aware of this sort of environmental impact towards local community and towards the nature itself?
Yeah, that's a problem because this project haven't done the transboundary impacts. Now we're talking about transboundary impact, right? And but it doesn't, exist in this project. So even though the money from other countries and impacts to the downstream Mekong River, but the studies, no, the report are not there. So these kind of impacts are not in concern of the project. If you look at the report, they said, oh, it's good. It's not creating impacts because the scale of study is not that, right.
But it seems like, from what I read, majority of the the organization or the civil society that is loud enough to speak up on the Xayaburi Dam are, in fact, Finnish NGO. They and they have been concerned about, they have been having special interest on the Xayaburi controversy. Of course, we also see like international NGOs such as WWF also voicing out their local concern.
Yeah.
But what about other countries? What about Cambodia and Vietnam? Are they concerned about the Xayaburi Dam as well?
Yes, there are civil society in Cambodia and Vietnam to raising their voices, but it depends on, we talk about political space. Now I'm not sure how much Thailand has compared to other country, and yeah, but we do have the local community in Thailand, in Cambodia and Vietnam concerned about this, and also the civil society because we have the Save the Mekong coalition, where they are from the Mekong countries. So there are groups of people in Cambodia and Vietnam concerned about this, but but you will see more activities in Thailand because the political space is there, and the money is there. If we follow the money, this is the strategy. Follow the money, and the target, right? So even though the projects already start 40%, 30%, but the lastly just recently the administrative court in Thailand just accept a complaint from the community saying that there is an impact to our community, even though it's beyond. If you look at in the past, the court would say this is something beyond our jurisdiction because it's not in Thai territory. But now the court accept this case and saying that this is the serious impact, and the transboundary impact is seriously concerned. So this bring a new hope, and lightening the campaign again, because some people might already give up hope in this case, but we need to work hard in the Xayaburi case because it will impact to another proposed projects in the Mekong River.
Is there any political pressure from other countries besides? I'm not sure, like the Thai government is concerned about this, but I just want to know, is there any state pressure towards the Xayaburi Dam?
I think even the Thai government, they're not that pressure in Thai civil society.
Because what
that
I
pressure
see
the government.
that what I see that is working in Southeast Asia is uh, pressure from governments. If it's the pressure from civil society, it takes time to build up, the momentum and the
Right.
numbers. But if it's from government, is quite fast. I mean,
Yeah.
because relationship between government is a sensitive area, and of course, environmental issues should be, I think, the major concern of ASEAN.
Yeah. I mean, in the government level, there is a mechanism called the Mekong River Commissions, and there were concerns of the Vietnamese government and Cambodian government to, suspend the project for more comprehensive studies. But as you see, the project still going on because Lao government said this is in our sovereignty, our territories. So maybe the government did not push enough. The other government, and that's how the politics work. That's how the relationships work. So that's why people in each country need to work in every channel available. Working with the government might not be the most effective tools, but you need to try. Like the Thai communities try to work at the administrative court. So, yeah.
So, anyway, we will have a short break. When we return back, we will have more discussion on this really interesting and controversial topic.
Yes, thank you.
Voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Welcome back. This is Arlene, and you're listening to Durian ASEAN. And in our ABC dialogue, as we continue discussing about the Xayaburi Dam in Laos and how it actually impacts Southeast Asia and also the relationship between Thailand and Laos itself. So, Tom,
yes,
you're still there?
Yeah.
So, early on, our discussion mainly falls on the negative impact of the dam, as well as in what's happening in Thailand and in Laos itself, and also the protests against these dams, the dam in Xayaburi. But I also want to know, what about the response of Southeast Asian organization, which is ASEAN? Is there any regional effort towards highlighting the issue? Because I do know, like, foreign powers, for example, like I mentioned earlier, Finland, but I also read somewhere that the US State Department is also concerned about the issue.
Yeah.
In fact, they went to the Xayaburi Dam to have a tour and just want to witness itself how serious the dam is. And from what I'm seeing, that 23% of the dam has already been constructed, and it is a multi-billion-dollar project. So, from your perspective, has ASEAN take any action yet?
The answer would be short because it is no. Yeah, because looking at the ASEAN, value, one thing is non-interference, right?
Yeah.
So they would take this as under the sovereignty of Laos government or other government. So, but the thing is, ASEAN has been promoting, the free flow investment, right, and the economic activities under the AEC. But the thing is, there is no mechanism or any policy to work on the projects like this, the investment like this. For example, the corporate accountability. But if you use another language, that would be the CSR, policy from the company, which is ASEAN has been discussed about many years ago, but there was no progress in ASEAN level. And when we talk about the strategic trans-boundary environmental impact assessment, which is ASEAN should be concerned about. And when we talk about these development projects, we talk about the human rights violation, which it should be in consideration of the ASHA, the ASEAN Human Rights Commission. But so far, there was no real action or any voice from ASEAN, which is, it's our jobs. The ASEAN citizens, everyone need to, advocate for this.
It's interesting you talk about ASEAN not having any interest in this. I'm not sure, were there any proposal by civil society or government of any countries, maybe Thailand, Cambodia, or Vietnam, to include this as part of the ASEAN Summit discussion?
Yeah, we try to talk with we approach the Aisha on this because they're reviewing the TOR of Aisha, and we try to push the environmental aspect of the human rights in ASEAN because ASEAN actually have adopted the the perspective of environment and human rights, but we need more and more engagement. So we try to work on this, and but it should be because it will apply for every case in ASEAN, right? Not only in Thailand, not only in Laos, and you might have heard about the projects in southern Laos, which name is Don Sahong. It actually invested by the Malaysian company. So this might be surprised why the Malaysian company doing in southern Laos. Yeah, that's why we need to work together in this region because the investment, the money, the projects go everywhere, right? The Thai investment in Myanmar, the Vietnamese investment in Laos and Cambodia, something like this. Huh?
It's great that you mentioned about Malaysian company being involved here in the economy of being involved in the economy and development of Laos, and I think a lot of Malaysians in general have no clue, not just about ASEAN, but they have no clue about what Malaysian companies are doing outside of Malaysia. And I believe many Malaysian company, whether they are GLC or they are individuals, private companies, they are definitely opening up and investing in other Southeast Asian nations. And I think with Laos having a very loose laws and control over investments and development, so this company can easily penetrate and do whatever they want. In regards with the dam project, can you let us know more? I mean, especially audience in Malaysia, regarding of what kind of corporate involvement, Malaysian corporate involvement in the dealings with Laos.
Yeah. So this dam is in southern Laos in the Mekong River, which is close to Cambodian border, and the most affected people will be in Cambodia. Yeah. So this Malaysian company is investing in this project, and so far the communities in Cambodia, they has no idea what's going on up there. So what we have to do is to work with this community in Cambodia side, because in Laos, you might know, no, the people cannot be able to do that, and also it's a small. If you say it's a Lao dams, but actually not many people in Laos gonna affect from this, but most people in Cambodia will be impact from this because it's will impact to the Tonle Sap in Cambodia, and actually the people living along the Mekong downstream, like in Weerachat province. So the thing is how we can work with this, the Malaysian civil society, Malaysian journalist to hold the corporate accountability on this. It is on process. I might not be able to talk much about this case, but yeah, for sure we will try to work together. Yeah.
Is there any Malaysian, maybe you can disclose the Malaysian companies that are in Laos?
Yeah, there's actually there's the name of the company, but better not mention at this point.
Okay, never mind.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
Mhm. But Malaysian civil society and Malaysian journalists, have they reported about the issue, the dam issue um in Laos? The
Um,
construction of the dam, have they reported about it, or are they even aware of the Malaysian company that is operating on the dam construction in Laos?
yeah. Now we just trying to make a connection with the Malaysian media, but we not really publish or work on that yet because there is some legal process
Mm-hmm.
preparation. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for this case. Yeah. So, but in the future, when the campaign is in that position, maybe a lot more attention.
How, how would Xayaburi Dam, so I want to return back to the Xayaburi Dam. How would the Xayaburi Dam actually affect um, the livelihood of the local community? Not just in terms of the way they they utilize the Mekong rivers. I mean they because the Mekong River fisheries, not just the way they catch the fish and all that, but also what about in terms of climate change or in terms of uh, the 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 land itself?
Yes. I think, as I mentioned, in the delta, uh, which is the sediments going from the Mekong River and put you know create the fertilizers or make the delta rich for rice cultivation. So this dam gonna change this ecological system, and according to the global climate change, where the salt water rising, they already have faced problem with salt water rising that ruin the soil or the farmlands. So you can grow rice in the salt water area, right? And meanwhile, you cannot get sediment or from the Mekong River. That means the condition of life of the people there gonna be very very vulnerable in this case. And 20 millions of people there. And if we talk about the fish, right, and it's everything of the life of the people. I mean, how they practice their culture, how they live their life, how they send their kids to school. Everything depends on the river.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is when we talk about the river, the fish. It's not that people eat, but it's defined their life. It defined their culture. It defined their identity of being human. Yeah.
So far, what about countries like the southern part, not beyond the Mekong River countries, but countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, and also maybe Timor-Leste have, and Singapore, obviously. Have they gained any concern, or have they supported, some of the civil society on the north at Mekong River there to take on the cost as well? Because I think at the end of the day, ASEAN is not just divided between the countries on the Mekong River and
Yeah.
the Malay archipelagos. I think it should be
Yeah.
like as a whole, in
Yeah.
concern
Right.
as a whole, not just in particular
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in terms of the people themselves, I mean, the solidarity might be already there because I saw during the ASEAN People Forum in Myanmar, and there was a campaign led by the local community in affected by the Mekong dams, and they make headbands, and it has been spread to many people. And I saw our friends from Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, they all joined this campaign in solidarity with these people. And I mean, this case gonna be useful for other case too, because it could be a good example if it turn out good. I mean, positive for others case. If you have, this kind of transboundary impacts for the development projects, this could be a model how to work together.
Very, yeah, that's true. It can definitely be a model on how to work together. So from the civil society in Thailand, what is the strategy next to push forward to gain awareness and support for the Xayaburi Dam protests?
I think now the case is in the court, and it's give more hope for people, and it will start the campaigns around this litigation again. Yeah, but what you need to know, what we are working on is to work with the Thai banks to advocate them for, they have their corporate social responsibility,
Ethical
the
dealings
CSR,
with these companies.
projects, and your money is actually from everybody money, right? Because you put your money in the bank, and the bank use your money to invest in these human rights violation projects. So we will work with the Thai banks. Work mean, I don't know they want to work with us, but try to work on this to hold them their own policy, and seeing, look, your money is creating suffering for people. So this is, I think, in these strategies.
Interesting, very interesting. What about in terms of bringing the issue to be debated in the parliament, or not just parliament in Thailand, maybe to advocate it to bring the issue up to countries that will be affected by the building of the Xayaburi Dam?
Yeah, in Thailand, we don't have any parliament.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but I think, in the near future, this would be bring into more upscale in the regional level. But there is a discussions a lot between the government and civil society. But we need to work more with the local communities. As I mentioned, the community in the Mekong Delta, I'm not sure how many people in the Delta concerned or even know about this coming threat to them. So, I mean, there would be more work on, the communities, because in the parliament level, or, it's not going to change everything, but we believe in power of the people that bring a positive change.
But the excuse to bring up the economic GDP of Laos and also Thailand in regards with the building of the dam is actually a very valid reason. But if you want to use the same reason, which is to increase the economic GDP of the nation, to uplift the livelihood of the people in general, what are other alternatives that the Lao government can think of, since they are one of the poorest? I mean, in reality, we have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I might not be a right person to comment on the Lao, policy, or how they define their growth. But I mean, what we are here to saying that it needs to be a public participation in the country development process, and it needs to be transparent. I mean, it could go. I mean, we could go for the more mega dams projects, but you need to make sure that you make the decision based on people needs, not people wants. And everyone have the rights to information, right? If we talk about the free, prior, informed consent, need to be applied, that the people have chance to raise their voice. That's the thing we work here. we're not saying what you are doing is wrong, but we're saying that the process, how you do it, need to be more inclusive.
And as far as we all know that the ASEAN community 2015 next year will be in Malaysia. So I guess uh, pulling forward the issue to Malaysians, I think probably would be the next best strategy, I guess. I mean, I would like to suggest.
Yes, sure. That's a great idea.
So do you have any final comments that you want to highlight to the audience of Durian ASEAN?
Yes, I think we are already in the same community. We talk about ASEAN communities. So it's our jobs, our duties to create this building, building this community to be more inclusive, and we own this ASEAN community, and that would be benefit for everyone, not only benefit from the people who already benefit from the existing system. So in the hoping that this community will good for everyone in this region. So as I mentioned, power of the people in this region in Southeast Asia for the future of our next generations.
So with that, thank you very much, Tom, and thank you for expressing your concern to us in terms of the Xayaburi Dam. And I hope that it will be an issue that the region can take up, and hopefully the ASEAN society would be interested to create a more democratic spaces for all the countries in Southeast Asia, and hopefully that justice will be served for the people there in Laos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arlene.
Thank you.